Barry Jennings from the law offices of James Scott Farron and Nicole Patino from the law offices of Nicole Patino are here to get you your answers. So how do you get one of your questions to the experts? Well, you text those questions to 336-379-5775. It is a text only, so please don't call. They'll be here till about 5:45, so you'll want to get your questions in. All right, first and foremost, Barry, let's start off with this one. Can a business require me to wear a mask if others don't? Are they allowed to do that?
Yes, they can. They can very much require you to do that. Where the mask wearing requirements came from here in North Carolina was in June of last year. You know, the governor, through executive order, required people to wear masks in certain circumstances, and that pretty much put us all in a mask. Well, a week ago on May the 14th, that changed. The governor, in turn, took away large amount of the mask restrictions. Right now, there's still restrictions in place in specific places, public schools, medical facilities. There's a few more than that, but the order that the governor entered also specifically said that if a business wants to require you to wear a mask, they can do that. So there's no question a business can require you to wear a mask. Kind
of like no shoes, no shirt, no service. Same thing with the mask.
It's exactly right. Quid pro quo. If you want to come in this store, you better wear a mask.
Okay. And all right. So, all right, Nicole, let's talk about this. Can my employer require me to get a vaccine?
They can. Your employer can require you to get a vaccine with two exceptions. If there is a reason that prevents you from getting it due to a disability, and then you would request accommodation under the Americans with Disabilities Act, or if you have a sincerely held religious belief. And that's not just a sincerely held belief that something could go wrong. It has to be based on your religion. Those are the only two exceptions.
And with that, does that mean that you have to produce documentation?
So the employer can ask, and the only information that you have to provide the employer is the vaccine card or a note from your pharmacy saying you've been vaccinated, but you do not have to give them any additional health information.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So Barry, let's talk about this. What should I do if I think that I got COVID-19 at my workplace?
Sure. Well, you know, that's certainly something we're running across a lot, and we have been ever since. You know, this pandemic started, is people contracting COVID-19 and worrying about whether they got it from work or wondering where they got it from. And, you know, it's one of those things in North Carolina, there is not a specific presumption, meaning that if you contract COVID and you think it came from work, it doesn't automatically apply that you're entitled to any kind of benefits. But if you can prove two things in North Carolina under the workers' compensation law, that you definitely contracted it from work, and that secondarily that your work puts you at a higher risk of developing or contracting COVID-19, you can potentially be entitled to it. So like any good lawyer answer, it depends. You know, if you have a situation where you've contracted COVID-19 and you think you got it from your work because you haven't been around anyone else that's gotten it and your coworker had it, you know, you ought to first contact your employer and let them know, hey, I've got COVID-19. Obviously, you're going to do that anyway, but you can tell them, I think I contracted here, and put it in their hands. If they want to send you to a doctor for that, you should go. If not, obviously, you should go and treatment on your own. If you think you contracted it, there's a form called a Form 18. You can file it with the Industrial Commission notifying them that you think you contracted it at work, and you know, these other requirements also apply. But if you think you did, you know, you probably should best contact a lawyer, somebody that, you know, handles workers' compensation matters, that knows those kind of issues, because, you know, they can talk you through whether or not, you know, there is a chance to prove what you would have to prove to be entitled to workers' compensation benefits.
Right, because you do have to prove those things to get those benefits. Okay.
That's exactly right.
All right, so Nicole, let's talk about this. Is an employer allowed to ask if I have had the vaccine?
Yes, they can ask whether you've had the vaccine or not. Now, they can't ask why you haven't had the vaccine. So if you volunteer that it's because of a religious reason, or that you have a disability, or while it's not protected yet, if you're pregnant and you volunteer that that's why you're not taking the vaccine, some employers are making accommodations for that. But yeah, they can ask to see proof of vaccination, and they can require that everybody who has not been vaccinated continues to wear masks, and allow the vaccinated employees who show proof of it to go and work without a mask.
Ah, okay, so they can do that too. All right.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least for this segment, Barry, is it a HIPAA violation if I'm walking into a store and a business says, we're only allowing people who are vaccinated into the store, show us proof? Is it a HIPAA violation if they ask you?
It is not. They can ask you because they're just asking you. They're not publicizing. They're not asking other folks. And that's exactly right. You can go and have to shop somewhere else. This can be frustrating at times, but that's again they're protecting everyone that's there, not just you.